detractor as said by Representative Babson. That way we get the issue in and it is clear. Yes, Representative Pettengill.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I was not able to be at the last meeting because I had a pre-posted commission hearing. I know that Frank wasn't at the meeting because he also had a meeting. And I think Representative Babson said that people didn't show because they didn't care to be here on tape. And I hope that he understands that it's because we were at meetings. And I want that to be clarified.
Yes, and for this meeting, as it just because you're not here does not mean that you don't care. It does mean that we have busy lives, and I want everyone to realize that though Representative Chandler is not here, does not mean that he does not care. And I'm sure that everybody understands that. And I know Representative Schmidt is away today. I think the discussion came up with because we were talking about I had made a decision that we would not take any motions on the old nursing home because there were members that were not here. I was in essence taken a little bit to task is the fact is that that's not my decision to make and I won't make that again. So, but again, if you're not here doesn't mean you don't care. Okay, are there any, before we go into the commissioner's budget, does anybody else have anything for clarification? Yes, Representative McCarthy.
Yes, during the last meeting, I was in attendance in Concord at a statutory committee on post-traumatic stress and brain injuries, traumatic brain injuries. And it's a statutory committee. I had to be there. I was assigned to it because of my position on the Veterans Affairs Committee. And on what Representative Batson brought up, it wasn't the fact that he mentioned my name and he said that I wanted. What got me was the fact that because somebody makes a viable alternative or recommends a viable alternative that may save the county thousands of dollars, it's considered to be micromanaging. I think that if we cannot make viable alternatives known and we are fingers pointed at us as being micromanagers, then I think we're in big trouble.
Thank you. And I think what we have to learn in this delegation is that if it's a judgment call and that's what you're thinking, keep your mouth shut. And I'm hoping that we will be able to do that. If you want to talk to the person outside is fine, but I think opinions other than what we are doing on personnel, on other delegation members is much better. You know, like your mother said, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Okay. Any further discussion from the delegation?
Yes, I'll say what I want to say.
Yes. Well, that's fine, but I do think that we ought to take personal attacks and not have them here. So we have a difference of agreement, Representative McCarthy.
Not a personal attack.
Representative Umberger.
Yes, I move, since there have been no corrections or changes made to the minutes, I move that we accept the minutes of October 3rd and November 14th as presented.
Second.
Okay, with a second by Representative Flood. Does everybody, anyone have any changes or corrections or whatever? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, we have approval of our 2 sets of minutes. And I also want to, again, introduce Janet Tully as our new minute taker. Thank you very much again for being here. And let's see, we will, delegation members, please remind me to go into convention so that I have it on the agenda, but that doesn't always mean that I remember. So before we go, I'd like to be able to make that in convention so we can get those minutes taken care of. Okay, are there any further issues? No more public input, and so, okay, what I'd like to do is a presentation of the Commissioner's budget. Thank you for getting this to us. The reason we got, this is in the mail. This was a lot cheaper to send to us than this package. I know that sometimes members would like to have the full package. However, we do have to be aware of the cost. So, Commissioner Sorensen, good morning, and thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Dorothy, Commissioner Solomon is on her way here from California. Her plane was supposed to arrive at 6:30 this morning. Whether she gets here or not, I'm not sure. and I'm leaving at 4 o'clock this afternoon to go to Switzerland, so hopefully we get through by then.
Yes, and enjoy your trip.
All right, thank you. Two quick questions that came up. One is, we accept all options, Representative McCarthy, no matter what they are. We accept them from anybody here, anybody in the audience that comes to our commissioners' meetings. We have a public input at the beginning. We even open it up for discussion on particular items that may be either controversial or that the public may have some input into it. I think the Board of Commissioners has always accepted other options. Whether we agree with those or not, we at least look at them, okay? The second item regarding the DEAS $800,000 increase, Representative Babson was checking in on that. He was not able to get phone calls returned, as I understand, but he is looking into it from the local office as well as from Concord. So that's being looked at. I passed out where we stand in 2010 as far as the counties, what they budget each year, and you can see that Carroll County is the lowest. At the last commissioners meeting, I recognized the delegation for being prudent in their decision-making and keeping Carroll County above water. We're not in as dire straits as a lot of the other counties might be, and I think it's because of the reaction of the delegation as well as the commissioners, and right down to the budget, to the department heads. So you can see where we stand on that issue. A couple of other items. One is we have no union contracts with the jail or the nursing home. The representative from the union for each of those on their side had tremendous amount of trouble coming up with dates. He doesn't want to stay late. He comes in and presents their case, or we present our case, and that's it. In the past, I'm not sure what happened the last 2 years because I wasn't the negotiator, but when I was negotiating, we would caucus, we'd go outside the room, we'd look at what was discussed and come back in and say, yes, we agree or we don't agree, and why. Here, there's no give and take. It's, we get it, we take it, and that's it, and then we give it, and they take it, and that's it. So we've had 2 meetings. One was canceled, and our next meeting is scheduled for, I believe, the 8th of December. I'm hoping that we'd have our union contracts with the jail and the nursing home by the end of February, by the end of January.
It's the 8th of December, I think.
I mean 8th of January, I'm sorry.
8th of January, okay, thank you.
Okay, so those 2 union contracts. In the past, I've always tried to get the union contracts approved so we can put it in our budget so we know where we stand. The other change in the union contracts that we have made is that we're not looking for a percentage. We're looking for a 30-cent per hour increase across the board. The feeling that I have, at least with that, is that if you go with a 1%, the people at the lowest level get very little. People at the top level get a lot more, so the gap widens between the two. If we go 30 cents across the board, or whatever figure that comes out to be, it's fair to everybody. Everybody gets that increase, okay, even the people at the bottom. And it's the people at the bottom that are really hurting. Just a quick comment on that. We are having hardships that are coming in. I think we've had 3 at least, maybe 4, of people that are unable to pay their heating bill. They're unable to pay their mortgage. And as I've said to them, and I've said to the union, Carroll County Board of Commissioners looks after our employees. Whatever we can do to help them, we will do it, as long as it's documented, reasonable, and so forth. And so in some cases, we've approved some advances. In other cases, we've denied it. But we're committed to looking after our employees, especially those that are dedicated, that have provided a service to the county. That said.
And that is, our employees come to you, you have a process for requesting some help or advance on their pay.
That's correct. We're coming up with a policy because it's starting to hit the fan, so to speak. There are more people coming. Once one gets out, then there's a lot of others. So we're coming up with a policy that will help us determine what is a hardship and what isn't. But we do look at documentation, we do look at length of service, we look at job ethics, work ethics, and get recommendations from the department heads. So we're pretty thorough on that. And in most cases, they're legitimate reasons for advancement. Another item that's general, and that is last year we put $2.5 million towards reducing taxes out of surplus. $2.5 million. This year we're putting in $500,000. That is not the bottom line. That's what we put in, and hopefully that's what's left over in our budget. Perhaps there's more, and we will be adding more to that. So when you look at the tax rate, it's not going to be that high rate. It's going to be something less. Just want to keep that in perspective. Let me get into the budget. Let's see, is that all I'm going to say? Okay. Mark? Whether you agree, I'll wait till it all gets passed around. Whether you agree with this sheet that's passed around, if there's any extra copies, might give them to the people in the public.
Yes, what I'll do is, Karen, could you pass that over to the, oh, thank you. Where's the left?
Principal and interest. Okay, whether you agree with this or not, what we did was we looked at those items that we have little control over. Insurance, building and liability is up. This is the increases now, is up $33,000. We already talked about DEAS, it's up almost $800,000. Unemployment increase is up $26,000. Retirement is up $78,000. Workers' compensation is up $15,000. We don't have heat in there, but that is also up, as you'll see as we go through the budget. The next item, and that totals $912,411, almost $1 million that we have, what I say is little control over. You may disagree on some of those areas, but that's what we came up with. The annual payment on the new nursing home, it's the principal and interest, $1,970,594. The principal is $1,175,000. That's the principal. The interest is $795,594. So if you want me to repeat that, it's in the budget. I'll show you where it is. I would recommend to you for your consideration that I said many times that we'll have a minimum of $2 million left over at the nursing home. I would highly recommend to you that you take $1,175,000 and put it towards the principal to help reduce the cost. All right, if you look at our budget, bottom line was $26,988,202. It's an increase of $1,300,959, or 5% increase in our operating budget. With that in mind, the amount to be raised by taxes is $15,286,708. It's an increase of $2,440,872, or a 19% increase. Now keep in mind,